I had always trusted my wife, Laura. We'd been married for 6 years, built a home together, and shared countless memories. But trust, I learned the hard way, can be fragile. It started subtly. Late nights out with friends, unexplained texts, laughter that didn't involve me. I told myself I was overthinking it. Maybe it was just work stress. Maybe she needed space. But intuition, that quiet, insistent voice inside, refused to be silenced. Then came the night that changed everything. I returned home early from work, excited to surprise her with dinner. The house was quiet. Too quiet. A faint sound of music drifted from the backyard. Curiosity turned to unease as I approached the sliding door and peeked outside. There she was, my wife, smiling and laughing with another man. Their proximity, the casual touches, the way they looked at each other, made my stomach drop. I stood frozen for a moment, the world narrowing to the scene before me. My hands shook, a mix of rage, heartbreak, and disbelief coursing through my veins. I wanted to storm out, scream, demand answers, but instead, I walked back inside, trying to process what I had just witnessed. When she finally came inside, expecting a normal evening, I was ready. Calmly, I told her, "You're not coming in tonight." I handed her the keys and closed the door. The house that had been ours suddenly felt empty, cold, and mine alone. She froze, a mixture of shock and anger crossing her face. "What are you doing?" she demanded. "I'm letting you feel the consequences of your choices," I said quietly. "Think about what you've done. I won't tolerate betrayal in my own home." Her phone rang almost immediately. I didn't answer it. I just watched her fumble. After a few minutes, she dialed my number. Her voice was trembling, confused, and a little panicked. "Please, open the door." "I'm sorry, I didn't mean..." I held the phone in my hand, my heart pounding. There was pain in her voice, regret, or perhaps fear, but the emotions were tangled with guilt. I wanted to believe her, but the image I had seen outside was burned into my mind. "Stay outside," I said. "Think about who you are and what you've done. I'll call you when I'm ready to talk." The hours stretched into a tense silence. I sat alone in the living room, replaying every moment, every laugh, every small sign I had missed. Betrayal isn't always loud. Sometimes it creeps in quietly until the damage is done. When she finally called again, her voice was softer, more sincere. "I never meant to hurt you. I cut her off gently but firmly. Actions speak louder than words. Tonight isn't about apologies. It's about understanding the weight of your choices." She cried. I listened, and I realized something crucial. Her actions had shattered more than trust. They had changed the foundation of our relationship. And while forgiveness was possible someday, it could not come without acknowledgement, accountability, and proof of real change. Over the next few days, I remained firm. I didn't let anger dictate my decisions, but I also didn't ignore the betrayal. I established boundaries, ensuring that the house, my sanctuary, was a place of respect. Laura, confronted with her actions and their consequences, had to face the reality she had created. Eventually, we sat down for a conversation that would redefine our marriage. No shouting, no theatrics, just honesty and raw emotion. "I need to understand why," I said. "I don't know," she admitted. "I made a mistake. I felt neglected, I guess, but that doesn't justify it. I lost myself for a moment." Her honesty, though painful, was necessary. Trust broken cannot be rebuilt with lies. I listened, asked questions, and demanded accountability. Rebuilding wouldn't be easy, and perhaps it wouldn't be possible, but clarity and boundaries were the first steps. The night she called, the one that shattered my composure and forced reflection, became a turning point. I realized that betrayal carries consequences not just for the act itself, but for the subtle erosion of respect and security in a relationship. My decision to lock her out wasn't about punishment. It was about creating a space for reflection, for acknowledgement of reality. Through the ordeal, I learned a profound lesson. Love and trust are delicate, and even a single act of betrayal can reverberate far beyond the moment. But measured responses, self-respect, and clear boundaries can transform pain into clarity. Laura and I eventually had to decide whether our marriage could survive this breach. It wasn't an easy decision, but one thing became clear. Trust, once broken, requires more than words to repair. It requires actions, commitment, and a recognition of the pain caused. The image of her outside that night, music in the background, laughing with another man, remains etched in my memory. But so does the clarity I gained, the understanding that boundaries, self-respect, and courage in moments of betrayal define not only the fate of a relationship, but the resilience of the individual. In the end, that night wasn't just about infidelity. It was about strength, reflection, and the quiet power of measured decisions. The call that shattered me forced me to confront reality, face betrayal with dignity, and take control of my life in ways I hadn't imagined possible. And while the road ahead was uncertain, one thing was clear. I would no longer allow my trust, my home, or my self-respect to be taken for granted.